Hello there, I've been asked to help with this question, which is 3.2.18. And this isn't a particularly difficult question, but I think that students don't quite know what it's asking for. So we look at, is a measure of 24 inches far away, quote unquote, from 18 inches? As someone with knowledge of statistics, your answer depends. You answer it depends and request the standard deviation of the underlying data. Okay. So suppose the data come from a sample whose standard deviation is 2 inches. How many standard deviations is 24 inches from 18? So the first thing they want to know for letter A is that you suppose that the data come from a sample whose standard deviation is 2 inches. So first thing you have to do is find that difference, right? Find how far away 24 is from 18. So let me just go grab a software. Let's just grab Desmos, shall we? So Desmos will work. Here it is. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is find out what 24 take away 18 is. Okay, so that's 6. So now what they're saying for the second piece, let me just kind of sneak on back to the problem here. There we go. So for this piece, they're saying, okay, 24 inches is blank standard deviations away from 18. Okay, well, we know it's 6 away, but that's not how many standard deviations away it is. That's just the difference. So what you have to do is you have to take 6, that difference, or if you like, you could take 24, take away 18, and you're going to divide it by what a standard deviation is worth. So for letter A, they say, suppose it comes from a sample whose standard deviation is 2 inches. So if you divide by 2, that makes it 3. So it'd be 3 standard deviations. See the 3 right there? It'd be 3 standard deviations. So I type 3 right here. And it says I did it. Great. And then because 24 inches is blank 2 standard. Okay, so what they're asking is 24 inches far away from a mean. Well, far away is kind of a euphemism for, is it unusually far? And remember, we learned in the notes that unusual, quote unquote, is anything past 2 standard deviations. So you have to look at your answer and say, is this past 2 standard deviations or not? So that would be unusual because 3 is bigger than 2. So that would be unusual. So let me type that. So 3 is more than 2 standard deviations away from the mean, right? Or from 18, I guess. It didn't tell us 18 was mean. Oh, it did say it was mean. Never mind. Okay, so the answer is yes, that would be unusual because it's more than 2 standard deviations away from the mean. Okay, now suppose the standard deviation underlying the data is 4 inches. Now would that be unusual? Okay, so if I go back up here, I'm going to copy and paste this result here. I'm going to change that standard deviation to a 4. If I change it to a 4, now it's only 1.5. Right? So 1.5 standard deviations away from the mean. Oh, I forgot to check my answer. Here we go. So that would not be unusual because that is less than 2 standard deviations away. Because 1.5 is only 1.5 standard deviations away from the mean. And then you would check your answer and you'd be right. All right, I hope that helps.